part of the major problem that we're having at the moment is an ongoing information war with the forces of political correctness against the forces of, I think we can describe it as just broadly populism. And this is manifesting itself in one titanic battle between Project Veritas, James O'Keefe's activist organisation to try and hold the media accountable, and the New York Times, which I believe just passed 7 million paid subscribers, making them, I think, the largest membership-funded news organisation in the world. So this is a real sort of David and Goliath battle that's going on, and the New York Times has been swinging hard against Project Veritas. Now, they've been condemning Project Veritas for many, many years now, but the most recent one that was significant was when Project Veritas had video of what they alleged was ballot harvesting in Ilhan Omar's district. This was claimed to be fake or misleading, but there was no evidence or real rationale given for why it was fake or misleading. The accusation seems to be, well, this has come from James O'Keefe and he is a bad man, therefore this is fake. And Project Veritas replied to this by simply saying, no, it's real, you can see the video. James O'Keefe, in quite an impassioned video, threw down the gauntlet and then declared that he was launching a lawsuit against the New York Times, which is of course currently in progress. And so we come to the 2020 elections that happened on the 3rd of November. On the 4th of November, Project Veritas released a video from one Richard Hopkins, a local postal worker in Barlow, Michigan, who alleges he was issued a directive to post-date ballots that were dated for the 4th or afterwards, the day after the election, to be instead having been received on the 3rd so they could be counted. This got 1 million views on YouTube alone and caused something of a response. And so 2 days later, Project Veritas released another video of Richard Hopkins in which he stands by his allegations and makes further allegations that he heard the postmaster actually say that the ballots need to be backdated. So it wasn't just a directive, he also heard them saying the same thing. And on November the 10th, Project Veritas released the New York Times published an article about this. If you can bring up image 1, please, John. The article claims that the postal worker, Richard Hopkins, has withdrawn his claim that the ballots were backdated in Pennsylvania. They say this, quote, Richard Hopkins, a post office employee in Erie, completely, in quotes, recanted his allegations that a supervisor was tampering with mail-in ballots after investigators questioned him. The Inspector General's office said, according to the Democratic leadership of the House Oversight and Reform Committee. It's interesting, isn't it? The fact that it's Democratic operatives and agents who are making the claim that he has retracted. But they also, slightly further down in the article, say, not long after the Democrats' announcement, Project Veritas, a conservative group that researchers say is engaged in a coordinated disinformation campaign to delegitimize the voting process, released a video in which Mr. Hopkins said that he had not actually recounted the statements. This is a 46-second video, and it's pretty damn categorical, in which he just says, I do not recant, I stand by what I said, this is not true, this is fake news. And the New York Times have actually included that in their article, so they know that it's fake news, and yet they're still titling it that he has recanted it. They still put that the Democratic leadership have said he's recanted it, and it's just, they don't care. I mean,
just fake news.
It's just open fake news. And they admit that it's fake news in the article itself, which is staggering. Can we go on to image 2, please? Because this is not where the end of the leaks come. Because then Richard Hopkins was interrogated by federal agents, and it appears in this secretly recorded audio that they're trying to gaslight him, as you can see here. What he's saying is that we like to control our mind, and when we do that, we convince ourselves of a memory. And he goes on to then say things like, as you can say there, I'm trying to twist you a little bit, I'm scaring you here. And then he says, but I'm not trying to scare you. I'm scaring you, but I'm not scaring you, and stuff like this. And it really...
Yeah, I'm not trying to twist you. I'm trying to twist you a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
But maybe you just made up this memory. And it's very much, well, very strange, isn't it? I mean, it feels very much like they're trying to gaslight this guy. And so I'm very glad that he came out and said, no, this is what I stand by what I've done. And so we can go to today's headline of the New York Times, which is image 3. Election officials nationwide find no fraud. Well, there we go then. It's just, that's it. That's all you need to hear, isn't it? That's what millions of people will see on the newsstands and on the internet. They'll see the headline, and that's it. The narrative has been set. There is no fraud. How dare you? In fact, those six statements that they've got in the center there are actually fantastic, because what they've done is asked 2 Republicans and 4 Democrats.
Okay.
The 2 Republicans are in Republican safe states, which are Ohio and Kansas. You can see Trump plus 15, Ohio Trump plus 8. These are not contested at all. But the Washington, Biden plus 20, fine, we can take that one out, obviously. But it's interesting. Michigan, Minnesota, and Pennsylvania are the 3 of the states that are most in question as to whether there are concerns of voter fraud there. And they asked, as you can see, the Office of the General Attorney General for the state in Pennsylvania, a Democrat, Minnesota, a Democrat, Michigan, a Democrat. And they're asking them effectively, have the Democrats been cheating in the election, Mr. Democrat? And all of them have come back and said, no, actually, we're not.
Well, that's reassuring.
Exactly. I
love the one from Kansas as well, where the quote is actually just Kansas did not experience any widespread systematic voter fraud. And that's not the question, is it? That's not what we're interested in.
Well, that's the point. But that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure that in Kansas that's not the case. But as the BBC recently detailed in 2016 an article on how to spot voter fraud, you look for a small selection of heavily contested states that have long voting delays, strange number of ballots, bizarre occurrences, poll watchers not being able to see the polls, etc., which all occurred in these states. But the New York Times article headline, no nationwide fraud. The people that are being accused of fraud have told us so. And that's it. They say...
This murderer says he did not commit the murder. Well, never mind.
Yeah, that's it. Job done, guys. We've done our investigation. The New York Times contacted the offices of the top election officials in every state on Monday and Tuesday to ask whether they suspected or have evidence of illegal voting. Officials in 45 states responded directly to the Times. 4 of the remaining states, Times spoke to other statewide officials or found public comments from secretaries of the state. None reported any major voting issues. Well, then I just guess that's it. That question's over. And so all that remains really is for the New York Times, again, to dig the knife in. This is from the article that's listed just below, Trump marshals federal power. This is just a quick quote from it, to overturn his election fee. President Trump, facing the prospect of leaving the White House in defeat in just 70 days, is harnessing the power of the federal government to resist the results of an election that he has lost, something that no sitting president has ever done in American history. That's pretty assumptive, isn't it? Like, he hasn't lost it yet. There's still a bunch of states that are up for contestation. There are a bunch of states that are doing recounts. Attorney General Barr came out and said, no, we're free to continue investigating any of these suspicious activities. And this has not been called. And for some reason, they're just stating it categorically as if Biden has won. This is it. This is the impression that people are supposed to get.
Also, the idea that a sitting president has not tried to use the federal government to defend whether or not he's won.
Yeah.
In living memory, we have this with George Bush, surely.
Yes. George Bush against Al Gore in 2004.
I mean, isn't the New York Times, like, most of their audience is of the elder description anyway, so they'll know. They'll know this is just nonsense.
I guess it doesn't matter. Again, just like...
he recounts it, but he doesn't.
But, I mean, yeah, exactly. It just doesn't matter. It just... There's no consistency. GoFundMe, I think it was today or yesterday, for Image 4, removed Hopkins' fundraiser as he was placed on off-duty status without pay at his postal job, which apparently they can do. This is, as you can see with the legal
what?
letter.
I mean, surely you have to do something wrong in the job to get off-duty without pay.
Yeah, the thing they charged him under was like the examples that were used in the legalese with people who had committed some sort of crime, postal fraud, or had been turning up to work drunk or something like this. So, I mean, I don't even know what this guy's been accused of doing wrong. He's a whistleblower, and he made a sworn affidavit about having seen or heard these things, so this is something that should be investigated further.
So, do you reckon it's... Because I saw James O'Keefe's video, and they were bringing up stuff that he had already adjudicated.
Yeah.
you reckon it's one of them where they're like, oh, 5 months ago you had a complaint against you, therefore...
It could be, who knows? You know, who knows what it is? But he's been placed on off-duty status, so it seems that not only has he been smeared by the press, he has been intimidated and gaslit by the federal investigators, and he's having his ability to make money withdrawn from him, all over making claims that he has seen corruption going on. Not good. I think there probably should be some kind of protection for people like this. He does have another crowdfunder up, so if people are interested in helping him out, they can go and donate to that. Can we then pull up video 2?
Democrats and Republicans alike should have a president that everyone supports and believes is fairly elected. As of right now, there are massive allegations of voter fraud, and you need to...
There are not massive allegations of voter fraud. There are claims of massive allegations. There are not massive allegations. There are a few individual cases, but there are not massive...
I mean, her smile in response to that is exactly how I feel about this. And he seems to be losing it.
There are not massive allegations. There are claims.
There are claims of massive allegations.
Okay.
I mean
that's the level we're at now.
There are allegations of allegations about this thing. That's not real.
But no, there are not.
But you can see how upset he's getting. He's visibly perturbed by what's happening here. Because she is right. There are lots of serious questions that have been raised here.
She's not rattled at all.
No, she's not rattled at all.
I know there are claims. I'm going to say there are claims.
And in fact, if we can, and he seems to be trying to maintain the New York Times narrative, which I think is going to be the sort of left-wing globalist pro-Biden narrative, which is, of course, there were no claims of allegations of voter fraud. Even this guy that Project Veritas found, who claims to have first-hand seen the thing, has recanted his story on it, even though he didn't, and we admit that he didn't, and everyone can see the video that he didn't. But if we can go to image 5 quickly, please, John.
Do we want to play the rest of this, actually?
Okay.
Allegations. And again, it is wrong to tell the world that that is the case. And what is more, you know perfectly well that when the states do certify the results, which they're probably going to do in the next couple of weeks, that's game over. You can't overturn certified state results, can you?
No one is arguing who the winner should be. The American people deserve...
You are. You've just said Joe Biden. You've just told me Joe Biden is not the winner. So you are arguing it. Don't say you're not arguing it. You are.
He is, darling, I told you that he is not the president-elect of the United States, which he is not. He has not been certified by each state, Secretary of State, and the Electoral College has not met yet. So if you want to be a proper Brit and be technical, those are the technicalities. You know, everyone...
Okay. Right,
she's just playing with him now.
I mean, she's absolutely right. Joe Biden, it can be called by the media all day, every day. And it was the New York Times who said, it's the media that gets the call. No, it's not the media that gets the call, and they've called it wrong many times in the past.
This reminds me a lot of the BBC. Every video they put out, they've always put a disclaimer. Donald Trump has presented no evidence of voter fraud at the end of every video. And it reminds me of that. Like, it's like when you're debating someone and they know they done goofed.
Yeah.
But they can't admit it, so they just instantly get rattled every time you call them out.
Now they're angry. Now they're
because every
unsure.
time you call it out, they know they're losing more ground.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so if when Adam Bolton claims there are no claims, there are claims of allegations, there are no allegations themselves. Kayleigh McEnany, the press secretary, has apparently demolished this claim of Adam Bolton's. She says she has 234 pages of sworn affidavits regarding real allegations of voter fraud. So, I mean, Adam Bolton must be putting a shotgun in his mouth about now, or something like that. He must be having quite a bad day in the newsroom.
So it's their fault. It's the whole, well, if I don't see any claims, there are no claims. Because I hope I wish she had actually just pointed out there, but what about the Project Veritas video footage? That's a singular claim. So now will you retract your statement and say there is evidence, it's under investigation, instead of there is no evidence? And see what his response would be. Because his response would be, well, no, there is no evidence, and he'd just carry on the lie, and it would even more expose that he's just jumping to a narrative rather than interested in figuring it out.
But it's genuinely shocking just how open the lies are, and how open they are just with how they understand. You know, they are showing us that, look, we can just we can print whatever headline we want and set a public narrative like this. Because I saw a poll earlier that suggests that 80% of people in America think Joe Biden won. And it's because the news headlines are all saying Joe Biden is the president-elect, Joe Biden is the president-elect. We've covered it multiple times already, but he's not. This is just not true. And it's not finished. You know, there are going to be a load of investigations, a bunch of recounts, and there are apparently 234 pages of allegations of corruption.
So, like, it'll be different things. So, like, I wasn't allowed to see these ballots that came in. Someone else would be postal thing.
Yeah,
okay.
and and there's all sorts of videos from people who are poll watchers who say, "Look, I'm not allowed to go and do this." All these things are illegal. You know, the poll watchers have to be able to see these things. And this is just general miasma of corruption around these sort of 4 Democrat-run sort of cities, the major cities in these 4 contested states.
That had huge amount of postal votes.
And then you get to we're still counting votes apparently, but Trump is now beyond 71 million, so he's nearly at 72 million, so he's nearly 3 million above Barack Obama at this point. But Joe Biden's at 75 million. He's got up by another million himself, and it's like, this is wild.
I don't know. I mean, with the population growth, does that not account for it? I don't know. Just if you're looking at raw numbers,
it's only been 4 years, and you know the population probably hasn't changed that much in 4 years, and it's really significantly higher. So there are definitely reasons to suspect.